Hey everyone, I'm coming to you from Kansas City in the prayer room, here with a few updates for you, the viewers at home, at this point, literally, so let's get into it. So at this point, it should come to no surprise to any of you that there are some changes in plans, protocol, and lifestyle from top to bottom, all across the nation at this point. On March 13th, IHOPKC held meetings across their entire congregation, the university, the staff, to address the rapidly growing threat of COVID-19. We were fortunate to have a high-level doctor, Dr. Kenneth Lim, brief us on the kind of ins and outs of what the virus is and some of the preventative measures we were going to be taking and setting up as a community. 3 different stages, level 1, level 2, level 3, just practical stuff, very useful, very easy to follow along. But at that point in time, I'll be honest, it was a little trivial to me to be reacting with such intensity towards this. I was so underinformed and definitely underestimating the sweeping ability that this virus has taken on, and a bit arrogant, and so I'm not as big of a target of this thing, or at the very least I'm not as vulnerable to it in a way that would be threatening to my life. It's the other demographics, the other percentages that we are paying attention to, which is the elderly, and in lesser measures the young, very young. So being as it is, this virus, you can carry it without being affected by it, but you can then pass it on to others. I became more educated. I started taking it a little bit more seriously. This also was compacted with the fact that each day after that meeting, it seemed these levels of actions from our community as well as state and local government were heightened. And so meeting numbers were being restricted more and more and more. It started at, we're gonna cap, meeting levels at 1,000, at 500, 100 within, 3 days, to 50, and then finally down to 10. And so this suddenly became very real, as well as the scene at the grocery stores, the jokes and the pictures and the reality of where's the toilet paper. It's been intense, and it's been a huge change very fast. And it's resulted in a few dynamics here that I want to explain and cover a little bit. Let me tell you right now that the prayer room is still up and running, though it does look different. I'll tell you that the camera is positioned at a different angle, the team is reduced in numbers and positioned differently across the stage, for the reason of adhering to social distancing and also the gathering limitations that have been placed, which is 10 or less. And so I'll tell you that what you're not seeing is that room is completely empty right now. Aside from the side rooms, which we're using as separate rooms, they qualify, thank God, and we're putting about 2 people in there each one, because that's really all we can do to uphold the social distancing. The rest of the staff and students have to stay home and stream and do it that way, which we've created a system for that staff to stay accountable to their commitment, to not just log in and say that you're here, but we've established a system to interact with each other. We've really sprung and reacted and responded to the situation in a really impressive way, in my opinion, to keep connected, to keep the fire burning, and to also respect the things that our government has put in place to keep people safe. It's exciting. It's a little tedious at times. It's a production, but the prayer room is still up and running. IHOPU is still up and running for this semester. We began our 4th quarter on Monday, though it is completely online. The way this affects my media practice and schooling is substantial. I can't work cameras and an Encounter God service that isn't being held. I can't work the prayer room live stream from the rooms that are locked down, the teams sent home. My prayer room practicum is out the window in that regard. Although my director met with our students, gave some very encouraging notes, some ideas, some brainstorming, actionable ideas that he's working on that was very encouraging. And so as I learn those things, I will also keep you up to date as best to my ability. Here's the big question that I want to answer. It's what happened to spring ministry trips. I made those two big updates about it in the previous months, and let me tell you right now, they are canceled. We do not see a place where we can reschedule this semester to take those trips. It may change, but that's what we're looking at right now. So that begs the next question, which is the question that the entire student body has been flooding administration with. It is, are we getting refunded? When is that happening? And we don't have an answer. We're wanting to honor, I'll speak for myself, I'm wanting to honor the fact that you so generously and so willingly gave, and I want to get that back to you as soon as possible. They addressed it briefly in the most recent meeting. They say we will update you as soon as we can with actionable information. I will let you know how that pans out and files down and see when I can get that to you as soon as possible.
On the inside, this is the hour. We have a little bit of time right now. We have this little window of time to get life on the inside, to get clear on our messaging, to get clear on what we're going to say to a world in crisis. This is not the final crisis that's coming. This is a little pop quiz of a crisis to give us a picture of what it looks like for everybody on earth to go through something at the same time and to have varying degrees of frustration about it, and for it to cause economic collapse and distress and difficulty. The number of people that are out of work, the number of things that are different now, they're going to take some time to repair. But there are other things happening beneath the surface that we can talk about in the future that may not ever be repaired again.
I want to take a moment actually to address this is a significant time in church and global history that we're standing in right now. We're making history. And consider this, never before has the entire church on a national and global scale leaned so heavily on technology. It's their only option to reach their entire congregation and community. And never before has technology been so readily available and affordable for use on a large scale. Just in the last few days, I've been in Zoom meetings that have held well over 300 people with video simultaneously without a hitch in the system. You have a free, high-quality system that can work on your phone that you would have told somebody about that 20 years ago and they thought you were a mad scientist. I've seen other churches posting and being very proactive about this, reaching their congregation on Sundays digitally, and memes and jokes coming out. Pray for our pastor's web stream not to look like a terrorist still shot address. And it's true, there are streams that look warm, inviting, well put together, and then there are ones that look like they're either shot in caves or shot in the late 70s. There is a need and demand for media workers in the body of Christ to perform this craft with excellence and with a servant heart. And that's a huge reason I joined the Forerunner Media Institute in the first place. It's just interesting and so funny to see this need specifically arise at such a time as this. Now consider this. An entire university is able to either shut down completely, send their student home, their semester is canceled, or, as many are choosing to do, hold entire classes online. And in our case, we're doing that with Zoom, this free app for phone and desktop, for free, seamless communications with students and being able to articulate information. It's absolutely jarring how great this thing is. You'd be paying hundreds and thousands of dollars to get this type of setup a couple decades ago to try and match the performance that this thing is doing. So it's coming from our phones. And as long as you have a connection, you could take this anywhere. You have students, I was in a class on Monday, you could see in a gallery view, and some people are on the road, some people are outside at a park, some people are in their homes. I went on a class on Monday to a hilltop during a windy day, took a kite to make sure no one was around to keep social distancing. I flew a kite and ate some snacks while I listened to my class and what they were having to say. It was mostly announcements and some Q&A as a community, as a student body. but it's such an accessible piece of technology. We take it for granted nowadays, but it really is amazing. Final thought, and kind of this sort of thing, I theorized with my fellow classmates and my FMI director that we could actually use Zoom or a similar app to it to run the prayer room if ever the Redbridge Center was completely closed down, to just have 10 people in a room, a small worship team ready to go for 2 hours. People logged in, muted their mics unless they're praying, and then at the end of 2 hours, a guy texts the next team who's ready to go in his house across the city and says, we're ready to transition. And just like that, just like the prayer room, you have 24/7 prayer in a city. And if you're thinking about it, across the nation if you want to. It's quite a time we're living in of connectivity and accessibility to that connectivity cost-wise. And so the Lord is moving, and the church doesn't have to be slowed down by crisis if we equip ourselves with the heart posture and the tools that are so readily available to us to use and keep it connected with each other and pursuing the Lord together. And my school director challenged us, capture this moment in history. Take pictures, take videos of what life looks like right now. Capture the tangible fear and unrest in those stores and on the roads and in the streets as people are wondering what it's going to look like tomorrow, and all their system is shaken and uncertain, especially those who aren't saved, especially those who don't know the Lord. I'm going to pass that challenge on to you. Capture the moments, share them with communities, and post them on social media. Now is the time. This is what shows up in history books. This is our participation. This is part of our role as a church and as a people, is to catalog these things and to remember so that we don't forget how to respond. Hey guys, it's me. I realized I deleted some of my footage, so really it's just a couple prayer requests and an ask for partnership. Just pray for my family. There are amazing things happening. Prayer is working and people are thriving, but we also did just suffer a death in the family. I don't want to give too many details, but just keep us in prayer and pray for the Lord to comfort us. Second, pray for me at the house of prayer and just with my heart before the Lord in this season. I want to respond well, and not just in the public eye or at my workplace, but really in my individual life before the Lord. Just seek his face truly, give him everything I got. And so thank you for everybody who's prayed for me up to this point. I know that your prayers are working. Finally, I'm calling out for partnership. It makes the most sense in this sort of situation for me to be doing what I'm doing, but constantly to be in a house of prayer that watches over the nation through intercession is priceless before the Lord, and it's something that's been on his heart. It's something that he surprised me with 5 years ago, but something that he has absolutely captured my life with in its simplicity, its weakness, yet its power. As night after night I go before the throne of grace to ask of the Father who can, when all of humanity, all of science, all of preventative measure can't. And standing as a missionary and a sort of modern day priest, we understand that the Lord has always funded his missionaries and priests through the church. That's something that's been established since Leviticus, all the way up through the first church and up till now. And so I'm calling out to you because you're the ones who, over the course of 5 years, have made it possible for me to learn and then teach about the simplicity, the power, and the importance of prayer in the church for my generation and the generations after in this house of prayer, as people from all over the world have come to learn and to put themselves in a seasoned consecration before the Lord. And not to mention investing my money and time in IHOPU, in both the media department and in theological foundations. And so if you'd like to partner with me with a one-time gift or feel stirred to partner with me monthly, I will post information down below with links and contact information in case you have any questions, or just to connect. I would love to connect with you and just hear a little bit of what the Lord's doing in your life. But please consider joining my team prayerfully and thoughtfully. Thank you for tuning in. This was a bit of a longer one because there is a lot to say. There's a lot to catch up on, but thank you for watching, and I can't wait to speak to all of you very soon. It's also my birthday this month, so I'll at your boy on the 30th. Love you all. Bless you.